Hi guys, let us understand the more JavaScript object, and already we discussed the DOM document object model where I explained that there are several objects hierarchy we are having, and I talk about the document. So the another discussion which we have to do, that look at this, the objects hierarchy we are having in this JavaScript. So you can notice here on the top, let us talk about this. We are having here language object, but language itself is not object here, but it is having some other object like array, boolean, date, math, number, and string. So we can simply store some string kind of data. We can declare array kind of data here, boolean, date, math. So there are number of methods with this object available which we can use. Boolean, as you know, it is a for true and false. Date, it will help you to display date here. So you can say d equal to new date, and you can display the d and you can get the date, current date, system date. And math, you can say math dot square root, okay, power. So some of the mathematical functions you can call. Similarly, like number, a string, and all you can use for handling the numbers string kind of object. Okay. Now another hierarchy is what? Navigator. It's your browser, right? This is a browser. So that navigator is having again MIME type, window, and plugin. Window is again having frame, history, location, document. I just not discuss window, right? So window dot open, we have seen that. And window is again having document. So we have seen document dot write, document dot that we have used. Now document again having another object, say anchor, applet area, form, image, link layer, right? Form is again having different kind of forms like button, checkbox, file upload, hidden options, password, radio, reset, select, submit text, and text area, right? I hope you understood this. Now location, if you want to refer certain location, certain different URL, you can say location. History, it is a normal history concept which we have in a browser. So whenever we open the page, it maintains the history of that all the pages. And we can do previous and forward, next. Okay, if you want to go back, we can say we can call the method back, and if you want to go forward, we can call forward. So another is a frame. So we'll discuss all these objects in details in the later session here. Okay, so these are the objects. As I know that JavaScript is object based, so these objects are inbuilt. You have to just call the methods and all. You need to just create a object or variable for that object, and you can call the methods here. So basic JavaScript object, you can look it here. It provides information about the creation of JavaScript object, templates, constructor, and more. Object creation, generally object may be created using the following statement. The statement which we have here, you can notice here that name equal to new object. So let us say you're having location, or say history, or say some other objects. So you need to take a variable and say new object. Okay, object is created. You can notice here ratings new array, home new string, right? Date d new date, num1 equal to new number. So we're creating a variable for this object. We are having this much array. So this guy is referring this much data, 6, 9, 8, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. Okay. So for instance, you can understood this array date and number, right? Boolean string objects can be created this way, as in the example below it is given here, right? So these are the language objects which we have. Once you say document.write line future date, it will come, it will display the date. If you display home, document.write home, you will get hello here, right? Now next is the JavaScript object hierarchy. Many JavaScript objects are contained within each other, right? So JavaScript objects have a container to contain an object's relationship rather than a class and subclass relationship. So it is a object relationship, okay? One object containing another one. So properties are not inherited from one type of object to another. That is a problem here. But if we do the class subclass, remember, if we have a superclass and then if we have a subclass, so properties and methods are inherited to the subclass. But here the concept is very different. If object containing another, if the top level object having some kind of properties, then this guy will not hold the objects of other object, right? So that is a problem here. I hope you understood. It is not like class relationship, it is object relationship, okay? So there are two main type of JavaScript object. There's a language hierarchy. I just explained the previous one. And second is a navigator hierarchy. So language objects provide by the language and are not dependent on the other objects, right? So each and every object is having the separate methods and all. Objects provided by the client browser. These objects are all sub objects to the navigator object, right? So that object is again having some another object that having another sub object like that. So we'll understand in details this whole language objects and navigator objects. We are having one global object methods. So you can call at any time, at any place, these methods. So there are certain number of methods we are having. What is that? It is parse float, parse int, okay, and is nan, is finite, eval. So these are the some functions which is belong to global object, okay. You need not to take any object for that. You can call it directly parse float, parse int kind of things. So this will returns floating point numbers the same as the parseInt functions, but looks for floating point qualified strings and returns their value as a float. So you can notice here if I say parse float 123, okay, this guy will return 123. If I say parse float 9.683, you can notice here this guy will return 9.683, right? You can see this too. ParseInt, it is a string here, right? This guy will convert to integer and return to this one. So converts a string to an integer, returning the first integer in content which is contained in the string. So it will start taking integer 1, 2. Oh, b is coming. So b is not integer. Leave it. So only 12 will hold, right? So getting only 12. If no integer value were found, such as like let us you're saying x y z and saying parseInt, then value 0 will return. So this guy will hold 0. I hope you understood this parseInt and parse float, right? Now there is the eval here. So in the eval you can have some expression and it will perform some evaluation on that expression and then return the result. So you can notice here 124 by 2. If I divide first, I'm getting 62. So this will return 62 to this guy. Okay. So converts a string to integer or float value. It can also evaluate expression included within a string. So if some expression, if you're having some plus minus divide operator you are using in that inside the double quotes, it will convert it. Is nan, we can check whether the value which is provided, it is number or not. So if the value is passed is not a number, the boolean value of true is returned. If it is number, it returns false. So we can check is not a number. We can pass the value. So I'll get true or false. I think you understood this, right? Now there's other method we are having, that our method that belongs to all objects. Look at here. It is a global object, but this method belongs to all. What method? It is a toString. This toString methods you can easily call by all the objects. Converts an object to a string. So if some object is there, it will convert to string format. You can see the syntax here, right? The radix is base value for the conversion, which may be 10 for decimal value. So in which what format you want to convert. If it is octal, then give 8 here. The value is 1 for binary. So we understood toString method, we understood eval, parse in, parse float, is nan. Similarly, there is a is finite also. Is finite. So we can check whether the number is finite or not. Okay. Now you can see this example. It is having more details, like you can check here. We are having eval, parse in, parse float, is finite, is nan, right? Now here, what we are trying to do, we are declaring a variable x and y. X is 10, y is 9.87, and I say eval of x. What is the value of x? 10. Okay, it will display 10 only, right? Isn't it? Because if we could have some expression x plus 5 plus 2 minus 3 multiply it, something like that. Okay, it will do some evaluation on that expression and then return the result. If I say percent of x, x is having 10 itself, so output is 10. If I do parse float of y, you can check here 9.87. So it will convert to float and display the float value, right? Now you can notice here, if I divide x from 0, x is 10, we'll get infinite number, right? Can we store? Can we display? No. So we are checking, is finite x of x by 10, x by 0, sorry. If it is finite, it return the number is finite, right? But this is not finite, it is a infinite. So the number is not finite, and you are getting the output here, right? Is nan y? Y. It is 9.87, right? So y is not a number. If it is not a number, it will say the y is not a number, right? Else it will return the y is number. So you're getting the output here, right? The y is not a number. So you understood all the four or these five methods from the global object, right? Okay. So that's all about the JavaScript objects. We'll see more methods or objects later. Thanks a lot.